prior to doing a stunt. There's a lot of prep that goes into it. And
I mean, for doing TV, I mean, Matt and I were talking about this
Yeah.
earlier. What's the difference between TV and movie work? I mean, is there like shorter lead times or longer lead time? Like, what's
well, the danger element's the same. You know, it doesn't matter. But on a feature, I think, you know, the bigger money, bigger budget, more cameras, you know, it's a little more complicated sequences probably. But I mean, the danger element's still there. You jump a car in the ocean and you got 2 people inside. Whether it's a feature or TV, it's the same problems can arise, you know.
Yeah, that's kind of an issue that I think we've solved in budgeting, is that we would do a car jump or a car chase, and the producers would go, well, hey, you know, we want that done a little less expensive because this is TV. But then we tell them, well, you know, the impact is the same whether it's TV or a commercial or a feature. The guy's still hitting the ground just as hard, so how can we equate giving them less money? But it's been, we've kind of gotten all that solved where the producers have been educated, and the process is pretty good. We have quite a good solid control of what goes on generally.
Yeah, it's all about the prep, you know. Preparation's everything. If it's prepped properly, you should be able to do it over and over and over again and not get hurt. You know, you were talking last night about, somebody asked about breaking bones and stuff. I mean, if you're really good at what you do and it's prepped properly, you should walk away from it. And if they ask you to do take 2 or take 3, you can do it again, you know, if it's prepped properly. So,
Even though it hurts. You stunt guys out there know that, and the ones that want to be, sometimes it hurts. The first time you do it, you don't know how bad it's going to hurt, but take 2, you know.
Does it differ genre to genre? Because you've a huge list of genres, but you've done action movies, you've done comedies, you've done horror movies, and granted the stunts are the same, but you know, a stunt in Smoking the Bandit is usually there for laughs for the most part. And is it always different?
Let me just comment that when you go to the IMDb and they have like the kind of, if you go to his page, the top 2 searches of the page are Harold and Maude and Superbad.
Yeah.
Not exactly what you think of from this man, but can you talk about the difference between genres and the expectations?
In the stunt business, we go through all kind of genres. Comedy stunts are probably the hardest ones there are to do because they're very broad. They're very, you know, usually physically demanding. You know, that old slip on the banana where you go up in the air and land flat on your back on the cement. There's no really easy way to do that, but you want to do it. Make it look funny, make everybody laugh, but just think about it. It's a tough one. And then there's car chases, or where you do, you know, westerns, or it's all different. Every show that you get, there's a kind of like a flavor that they want to do. They want to make a car chase very exciting, or they want to make it comedic. There's all kinds of different tones and art, kind of artistic ways that they would like to approach it. So every project's different. None of them are the same ever.
And what about the stuff that doesn't make it? I mean, there's got to be so many things that you've done or pulled off, which you're really proud of, and then when you go see the film.
I got a great example of that.
All right.
I was with Aaron and Chuck Norris on a movie called Missing in Action. And we're in Jalapa, Veracruz, Mexico. And there's a scene where Chuck escapes from the POW camp, and he throws the repelling light down. He has Mazzilli, the character Mazzilli, and he's telling him to hurry up and get down the hill. Well, it was the same area where they did Romancing the Stone, where they swung across the bridge. It's a 450-foot cliff with a 200-foot waterfall next to it. So it's a big deal, right? Cameras are across the way, about, I don't know, a quarter mile across this ravine. And I mean, it was a big deal. Here I am rappelling 450 feet next to a waterfall. And when I saw it on film, I could have rappelled down the side of this, because all you saw was bloop, 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 and they cut, and then you see me hit the ground. You know, so I was so pissed. I don't know if I talked to you about that, Aaron, but I went, you know, it's a long way. That's a long drop to be that tight. But it happens a lot.
Those are the things that inspired me to start directing, because I got pissed off at the directors. That kind of stuff.
But it happens all the time. I just, on our TV show, unlike features, TV shoots, they have a habit of shooting things really tight. You know, where a feature might be a little more wide out and see the big explosion. And I argue with our DP all the time about don't go so tight on that. We need to see what's going on. You know, but yeah, it does happen, and you try to have some input because we know what the results are going to be. We know how big the explosion is going to be. We know how, you know, where the car is going to land here. So, you know, widen out a little bit. Be sure those cameras. I like to go around to all the operators and kind of give them a heads up on what's going to happen. So we can show the stunt, you know, and it's not like the rappel.
And can you talk about,
That was a puckered rear end.
Yes, it was.
It was going on, I remember you stepping off that first step.
Oh, and at the bottom, I mean, Buddy Joe can tell you if anybody's rappelled, I mean, the line gets really hot, your brake hand gets really hot. And coming down that thing, I mean, my hand was literally smoking, you know. But to see it on film, literally, I could have gone off the side of this thing and then you would have never known the difference.
Yeah, sometimes you do those death-defying things, and you're so proud of what you do, and then you go see what the editors did to you, and it's like,
Oh,
it's very disappointing, especially from our point of view, because sometimes you do these things, you don't want to do them again. So it's very disappointing.
It's a lesson too, because when you get some really good directors, they'll never give the editor stuff that, you know, they're going to use. They shoot it in a way. A lot of times they'll be told, "Well, you need to get tighter." No, I don't. You know, they'll shoot it. They'll never give the editor stuff that they're going to use because they're going to use it, and it happens all the time. And it's disappointing when it comes to the stunt. So, you know, you can't see it.
can you talk a little bit about how the rise in CGI and computer technology has impacted your business? I mean, we see stuff now which maybe it's either maybe like the main core of the stunt might be physical, but everything else behind it is CGI enhanced, or that whole stunt spectacle is actually all computer generated. How is that, one, impacting your work and your fellow stuntmen's workings, but also, like, how do you work with something when you don't even know what the actual background is going to be?
I think on a positive note for CG stuff is back when they'd hang guys on cables and wires, really thin wires, so they couldn't see it on camera. They didn't have wire removal. Now I can hang somebody on a cable, you know, 2 inches thick, and they can remove it. So in that aspect, it makes things safer. I myself, you know, you see these car chases on these big, you know, transformers and all that stuff, and you see the CG car flying through the air, and everybody knows it's CG. And I personally hate it, but there are some advantages to it, you know, with wire removal. And green screen, a lot of times we can do a big explosion, not put the person in front of the explosion, shoot the explosion, and then stand the guy in front of a green screen so you can put them right up against it and composite the two together, and it looks really good. There's advantages, but for the most part, I mean, I dislike a lot of CG cars flying.
I hate it. I mean, there's a difference. There's like, I feel cheated sometimes because I still like to go to films, and I still like to get involved in what I'm looking at and be entertained and become a part of it. And just with CGI, I can never really believe anything that I'm seeing. At least with real-time stunts where things are happening, you can put yourself in there and kind of live it a little bit. The CGI just kills it for me. I mean, there's advantages to it where you can enhance certain stunts. I mean, Quentin Tarantino, for instance, most of his stuff is real time, and that's why I like what he does. He will employ some CGI because you can't really rip somebody's face off for real with a tire going over it. So stuff like that I think is really cool. But eventually, I think they're going to get back when they want something new. They're going to go back to real-time stunts. Next time a producer asks you, hey, let's do something real different and new, tell them let's do it for real.
Well, Buddy, you just brought up Quentin Tarantino, and the car stunts in Death Proof, they took a lot of pride in noting that there was no CG, it was all real. And to me, that is just some of the best stunt work that I've ever seen. And I wanted to ask you specifically about the crash. For those who've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't
Which
seen the
one?
movie, Oh, the one midway through with stuntman Mike and 4 girls in the other car late at night. It's just, to me, it's still one of the most shocking and just impactful crashes that I've ever seen. What did it take to put that together? I mean, did it look? It looks just harrowing. Was it really that dangerous to put together?
In a way, yes. I mean, there was, a little physical abuse in a couple of those things. Kind of rung my bell a little bit. I didn't get knocked out or anything, but my family thought that I was a little goofy for a day or so. But we did a lot of rehearsal stuff with that, and we had some great effects guys, and we pulled all that off relatively, actually very safe. If things did go wrong with some of that stuff, then I wouldn't be sitting here right now. But it took a lot of work with our special effects people, and the fact that most of it was done at night with a little bit of pyrotechnics really enhanced the look of it. And I do have to say it wasn't quite as brutal as it looked on screen.
Thank goodness. How fast were you going?
Most everything we did in the chase thing was upwards of 80, 85, 90 miles an hour. And in those cars, the cars were fairly well prepped, but they were still, 1970 Novas and Chargers and Challengers. So to drive those speeds in those conditions with the older cars was, a bit of a trip. I grew up on old cars and drove a lot of stuff when I was first started out that nothing really worked. So you got used to driving junk. So this stuff was kind of, Ferrari style to me. It was all great. I loved it. I would do it again tomorrow and the next day.
Does anybody have a script out there for Buddy? To do this? Because we need to do this now.
And the girls, the stuff that was the scariest for me was when we had the girl on the hood. She was actually on the hood. We had her cabled off and everything, but still, when you're whacking the side of the car at 70, 80 miles an hour, it's pretty freaky for me, and I'm sure it was freaky for her too. But you just, you're always just a little afraid about hitting them too hard. What if you flip the car over? So to me, that was more stressful than the actual cannon rolls and stuff like that. Just hitting that other car was very angst for me.
And also on Death Proof, did Quentin Tarantino or Kurt Russell go to you just for a little help with helping to create that stuntman Mike character in any way?
Yeah, in the beginning, I spent a lot of time with Quentin. We got to talk, and he was, with Quentin, anybody that's been around him and know him, he's very energetic. So we went over a whole lot of stuff and talked about stuntmen, and he's really liked stunt guys a lot. So I think there was a lot of input from us about stuntman Mike, and of course, Kurt Russell is a great guy. I think he did a fantastic job playing that part, which was kind of like a bit of a stretch for him. And he's a great driver too. He did, when you see him, he's actually driving.
I wanted to ask you, there's currently this craze for 3D films. People wanting this kind of other element. Maybe not so much people wanting it, but Hollywood thinking that they want it, and also Hollywood thinking that, or knowing that they can charge more dollars for that at the box office. Have you worked on any 3D films, or is there a difference in trying to deliver something when, in that, sometimes the camera can't lie, and you can't hide a lot of stuff?
I've done, several 3D films. The 3D, the systems that they have now, like Cameron, all of his 3D stuff, it's it's pretty innovative, and I think if you use it in the correct way, there's going to probably be some films come out that are going to be very innovative and interesting for us to see as an audience. I think 3D naturally is just another something to sell films, you know. I think it'll run its course too, just like everything else, and there will be good 3D and bad 3D. With the 3D systems now, when they shoot it, you can go into, once you're in the editing room and stuff, you can change all the different feels of what's coming out, which you used to have to shoot it that way. Now you can vary all those degrees. So it's a great technique, and I think it's going to just get better, and it probably will have a place. I think right now they're just over-amping with it like they do everything else. So, but there will be some good stuff. I think Final Destination 4, I don't know if anyone's seen that. I think they did some pretty good stuff there with the action with 3D.
How many people saw Drive Angry in 3D? That was a film which actually was fun because they used the 3D to its advantage. They put things in your face, and it was a car film.
Yeah.
But it was also a horror film. And maybe that's why it didn't quite.
Didn't see it.
It's actually really fun.
Well, I know
And it's got
James,